Assets, I think, are also skill sets, experience that we have. Everybody has some kind of level of experience. You may have gone down, again, training to be a certain type of person or a worker or bring value in a certain way, but everybody has other skill sets that just haven't been developed yet. No one has helped you see what those are and participate in something different outside of your core business or career path. Just try some things. Don't take an idea that has to be perfect, because it's never perfect. Take an idea and say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to just try it with a small group, get some feedback. And that was my pathway. What's working? And you meet people and opportunities come up and you say, well, I need to step out and try that.
People listening right now may think, well, I don't have any assets. And that may not necessarily be true. How would you help people to find what an asset is in their life right now?
So assets, I think, are also skill sets, experience that we have. Everybody has some kind of level of experience, abilities, creative abilities. And I think, you can take certain tests like strength finders, just to throw one out. What are my innate abilities? I'm not talking about just the technical training. That's something that you could put on that asset column, certainly. But I say, what I call transferable skill sets. I put a chapter in the book called Transferable Skill Sets for that very purpose. You may have gone down, again, training to be a certain type of person or a worker or bring value in a certain way, but everybody has other skill sets that just haven't been developed yet. No one has helped you see what those are, and how can you take those other assets and put those in with other people or other constructs that allow you, again, to participate in something different outside of your core business or career path. So everybody does have assets. And again, I come back to the biggest one for me is like, who do you know? Who do you know? Yeah. Because you're only a few people away from, if you need a resource or need help with something, if you know some people, they can plug you in, and the world just opens up way faster than if you try to figure out everything for yourself.
I like the fact that you're focusing on one's the assets, perhaps skill sets, soft skills, if you will, in some ways, perhaps also hard skills. But I like that because sometimes people think assets are only something materialistic or something when it comes to something you can see or tangible, which is definitely a part of it. But that is important because people are like, well, I don't have the financial acumen right now to be able to purchase things and perhaps purchase, real estate. But you're right, David, they do have a lot of skill set. I know for me, what the intersect for me when I created Lifeology was, and you know the story from before, but I was in the television film set when I was younger and entertainment world, and then psychology. And then once I was tired of my practice, just like you, wonderful time there. But it was just time for me to move on. But I found for me, okay, well, where's the intersect? So I was like, well, I talk for a living. I used to. I interviewed people. I was in, the entertainment space before. And so that's how Lifeology was created. So I was able, just like you, to leverage my previous skill sets from before to be able to find how it all worked together. And then, obviously Lifeology took off, but I'm no different. And just, you're no different. And the people listening are no different. We all have that. But when you have to be very methodical, very mindful of what is it that you truly enjoy and how can you combine that together? And all of a sudden the world literally opens up for you.
It does in so many ways. And what I found was what we all love to do, I think, is help other people solve certain problems. I mean, that's really what the world's about. Everybody, all of us have problems or issues or challenges we want to get through. And so who do we seek? We seek people who have a reputation or credibility in that arena. Well, again, how does that person help solve problems? Many times it's a coordination of different people on a team that help do that. Certainly in my business today, which I love in Freedom Founders, is I can't do what I do myself. I've got to have other people that help put all this together. And I love that. I love the harmony of orchestrating and creating together with other people. It's just so much fun to do that. And I think when people start to see the world that way, it can literally change everything about your outlook and how you see yourself and what could be your next and where you can plant your foot in other areas that maybe you hadn't considered so far because you thought, well, I can only do these things. Nope. I'll bet you've got a lot more there. You just hasn't been exposed yet.
Yeah, that's super exciting and very inspirational. So even the title of your book, Own Your Freedom, Sustainable Wealth for a Volatile World. Walk me through the concept of sustainable wealth, because, in a world that was full of COVID, full of what happens, we don't know what's going to happen in the world in the future, of course, but how do you create sustainable wealth?
Sustainable wealth for me, yeah. There's two parts of it. I mean, sustainable wealth with the right assets. So I talked about owning assets that would give people different streams of income. People talk a lot about multiple streams of income. I think that's important from a financial standpoint, those streams of income coming from different places. Diversifying, of course, right? Outside of your primary income stream or your primary business, you need other sources of income. So finding those additional assets, which again, I think tangible, for me, it's better than financial. That's just my own preference in my experience in life, businesses or real estate. I love that. But I think that the other sustainable income streams, again, I'm just going to fall back on people. When I think about insurance policies, which we all buy insurance. We buy health and disability, property casualty. We need certain kinds of insurance. My best insurance, James, is really the people I know, because I know if something happened to me, or God forbid, a creditor, took all my assets, all my money, some judgment, some crazy litigious situation came up. I would not be afraid. It would be a big nuisance. It'd be painful not to have the assets that that are there, but I could rebuild. How? Because I know the value I bring, and I've got people around me that I've built over the years, a network of people that I have confidence in them. They have confidence in me, and there's always a way to put things together if you've lived a life that way and not just being a soloist in one area. So two things: one, just your network of people, but secondly, multiple streams of income from various assets would be where sustainable wealth, I believe, truly comes from.
I really like the fact that you focus a lot. I mean, we've already talked about this already, but focus really on your network as well. How would be some ways that people could start to identify that network right now?
I'll just take you back to when I was leaving my practice in professional world because of my daughter's situation. It gave me that boost. It gave me that push to really get real about what was important to me, and it was my daughter's more important. And did I have enough to get out of the practice? I had enough, not magnanimous wealth, but I had enough. And so what I did is I knew that I was going to do something else. I didn't know what it was going to be. I had no idea. All I knew was I've been a dentist and I've learned how to be a real estate investor. That was it. Kind of binary choices. What am I going to choose? I purposely found some other people and other groups that were really kind of like mastermind groups, where there was like a variety of different people from all different business backgrounds and entrepreneurs from different areas. And I found that was very invigorating for me. And I got a lot of perspective and I got a lot of feedback. And that's what started to give me some clarity on some things I'd figured out, but I hadn't really recognized what those were. And it took a little time in other people's feedback to say, hey, David, you have these experiences in real estate and kind of putting deals together, and you understand financing because you've done that, but you're also a dentist and you have other colleagues who very much like you probably are looking for some way to slow down, transition, not have all their eggs in one basket. Well, why don't you put those two things together? See, I didn't figure that out by myself. I had to have other people look at me, because when we're in our own world, it's like the forest and the trees, and we're in the situation where we're down in the trees and we can't see the bigger picture. Well, other people can see better what we can't see and recognize. Look, if you just did this, you could put those things together, David. That would be something you ought to look at. And then it's just try it. Just try some things. Don't take an idea that has to be perfect, because it's never perfect. Take an idea and say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to just try it with a small group. Get some feedback to see where is there relevance here. And you'll find some things that work. You'll find some things that that wasn't so good. So how do I shift and model? And that was my pathway to do what I do today. It wasn't just an overnight success. It wasn't just I had this vision on a vision board and all of a sudden I'm going to go that direction. Nope. You have to just learn to, right? I mean, the same thing for your life. You just move through and say, what's working? And you meet people and opportunities come up and you say, well, I need to step out and try that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid if it doesn't work. But just try some things, because that's those testing those ideas are what will formulate actually what is going to work for you long term. And that's the journey of life. That's the fun part of it is not totally knowing exactly where we're going, but being open to the adventure.
Yes. You said so many wonderful things there. I wanted to focus on one of the first things you said in that in those statements was you knew that you had enough. And so when you recognize that sometimes we think, I have to have this amount of money to be able to do something. And yes, that may be true for certain things. But when you can recognize that I have enough for a certain period of time and I'm okay with that, to learn how to differentiate between what society says we have to have more. And once again, time and place for that versus I have enough for right now to try something new. And I think that a lot of times where people really struggle is because they don't think they have enough and they get caught in that mindset. So you had the ability to say, yes, I have to do something different because Jenna needs my help. And so I have enough for now. And so that enough for now sustained it. So you didn't get lost in, oh my gosh, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do this? Because I have enough now. And I think that's a huge lesson for many people, is to say, I have enough for right now. So if I have enough for right now and I don't like what I'm doing, let me maybe invest in some of these courses. Let me talk to certain people. Let me do something different. Because, we were talking before when I was on your show is, I settled when I went, when I was in the entertainment world and I went to psychology, I took the quote easy way out and didn't pursue certain things. Now I love how my life turned out, so it's fine for me. But sometimes when we do get stuck in that, make that decision of, I have to do what I've been told to do. And there's a prime moment of saying, no, I don't have to. And so any of my listeners and viewers right now who are listening to this, I hope you really listen to what David is saying, because if there's a part of me that says, I want something more, I want the sustainable income for, in a volatile world, I want something different. You have to know I have enough for right now to be able to explore something else.
It is so important. And I found this not only in my life, but with the others I've had the opportunity to help. You're right. Most of us as entrepreneurs and business owners, we are driven. We are driven, but to what end? And you're right. It's about, do I have enough? And I need to build up more. Well, when is it ever enough? It never is. It never is. If you look at it that way, if we live in a fear-based, never enough, you'll never come up for air. You'll never have the margin or the space or create a vacuum, enough room to explore. It's like, well, nope, I got to go back to work. And what we are able to show our doctors who, just like me, were just working really hard trying to provide that security for my family. When you can actually measure and say, hey, there's enough for today. I love what you said, enough for today, because there's always going to be tomorrow. You don't have to pile it all up today. You just have a run rate that gives you enough for today. Breathe a little bit, live life, spend time with your family and people that count, explore a little bit more. That's what opens up the door. And we don't give ourselves permission to do that. We do not give ourselves permission. We just keep running. And then we hit age 60 and 65 and 70 and look back and go, what the heck was this all about? And that's not a good feeling. And I don't want people to have that.
Yes. And I've had the honor and the privilege of going to one of your events of Freedom Founders. And it was so neat to see how some of the dentists in your field, how they made that transition, to see the different levels of individuals that were there, and to see the people that first came in versus the people that already had been there in your organization for a while, and just to see the transformation. It was really neat for me to see how people that may have been more downtrodden because they're just so used to certain methodology, and all of a sudden people that have been with your organization longer, all of a sudden are like, oh my gosh, this is very life-changing. So it's really cool. I highly endorse the Freedom Founders and what you do as well. But unfortunately, our time is up. We literally flew by because we talk very quickly. But if my listeners want to find out more information about you, Dr. David Phelps, and to purchase your book, Own Your Freedom, Sustainable Wealth for a Volatile World, where will they find this information online?
Own Your Freedom is available on Amazon, and it's Kindle hard book, and I actually even did the Audible. So if you want to hear my voice at whatever speed you want, grab it there. Also, freedomfounders.com. Freedomfounders.com is the community that I have. And then I also have a podcast, the Dentist Freedom Blueprint Podcast. You don't have to be a dentist to enjoy that, because we talk about a lot of the things we talked about here today.
Excellent. Yes. And I was a guest on that show, so I highly endorse all the things that Dr. David Phelps does. So Dr. David Phelps, once again, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on my show. My listeners also know that if they cannot find this information any other place, simply go to the show notes at jamesmillerlifeology.com, and I'll have all of the information there for Dr. David Phelps. Thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on my show today.
Thanks, sir. If you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.